Hello, everyone. My name is Javon Frazier, and I am an author and the founder of the Heavenly Jewels Alliance, which is a partnership for victims and survivors of sexual abuse. Listen, I am so excited to be a part of the 2015 Playtime Is Over conference. Today, we're going to talk about how to discover your inner sparkle and let it shine. Before we get started, let's take a second to define sparkle because I know you're like, what is she talking about? Discover your inner sparkle? What is that? Sparkle is simply purpose. Discover your inner purpose. Discover yourself. Sparkle is the thing that you were created to do all along. Sparkle is your true, authentic self. Sparkle is the very thing that makes you, you. So now that we've defined sparkle and you know what I'm talking about, let's explore how to discover it. How do you discover your purpose? This really seems like it should be a no-brainer, but you would be surprised at how many people really don't know what it is they were created to do. How many people do you know in your own personal life who are stuck in jobs or stuck in situations and they feel like this isn't me, this isn't what I was called to do? You feel like something is missing. How do you discover your sparkle? You have to connect with your creator. You have to connect with the person who created you in order to find out who you are. What is your purpose? What does he say about you? There is a line in one of my favorite episodes of Good Times, and forgive me because I just use illustrations for everything, but James Evans said, "How can you tell me where I'm going if you don't know where I've been? Get where I'm coming from." So basically, what James was saying was, you can't tell me anything about where I'm going or where I'm headed if you don't know where I came from. If you don't know my story, if you don't know, where I've been, you can't tell me anything about me. And it's the same thing with discovering your purpose. If you don't know your original plan or the original plan that God had for you when you were designed, there's no way that you can know where you're going. There's no way that you can have a clear path as to what it is that you're supposed to be doing. So the very first thing that you need to do is really get into a quiet space and connect with your creator, connect with God. Do some self-evaluating and really find out what it is that he had planned at the time of your creation. Okay, so at this point, you've done your self evaluating, you've done your research, you've had your one on one time with God, and you know who He created you to be. Great. So now what's next? The next thing you have to do is really evaluate yourself. Look at where you are. How does where you are and what you're doing align with what you were created to do? Okay, now this part could be a little tricky because you can say, well, Javon, you don't understand because I've had struggles. Or Javon, you don't understand, I've had trials. Listen, no one gets it better than me. Okay, you're looking at someone who was actually abused as a child. You're looking at someone who grew up in a very violent situation. And because of that, in my adult life, I made decisions that I'm not proud of. Listen, I danced. I was on drugs. I've done it all. So when talking about discovering your purpose, no, there is no way that where I was looked like what I was created to do. Because although I was no longer in those situations, I still had the residue. I still had the scars. So for me, I couldn't fathom in my mind that I was called or predestined to do all of these great things because it's like I'm dirty. I'm tainted. Things change. Yeah, that might have been the original plan, but then life happened along the way. So what do you do in that situation? Listen, none of that negates your purpose. Nothing that you have ever gone through or will ever go through in your life can stop the purpose that you are destined to fulfill. I'm going to let that sink in for a second. There is nothing that you can do or that you have gone through or that you have experienced that takes away the purpose. Okay, in my new book, I use the illustration of fine china. You have this fine china that's sitting at the very top shelf that you only bring out on special occasions. Okay, so you have this party, your guests eat on the china. You stick the china in the dishwasher, and it comes out. There's still residue. There's still, food. There's still, that spaghetti sauce that, is hard to get off. So what are you going to do? Are you going to throw away your fine china? No, you're going to wash it again, right? It's the same thing. So you've gone through life. You've had some bumps and some bruises and some scars. That doesn't mean that he's just going to throw you away. That doesn't mean that you get to just say, okay, I can't fulfill my purpose or I'm no longer valuable. No, you do what you have to do and you get cleaned up. You do your work. You do your self-evaluating. You still have your sparkle. It's still there. Your sparkle could be covered or layered under dirt or situations or whatever, but it's still there. Your sparkle never goes away. Okay? There's nothing you can do that will make your sparkle go away. Your sparkle is yours. It was given to you at creation, and it's there waiting on you to discover it. So there's nothing that you can do or that you can go through that will remove, taint, or diminish your sparkle. So you've had your self-evaluation, you've discovered your purpose, you see where you are, you see where you're headed, and you realize that the two don't really look the same. So now what happens next? Now the process can begin. In my first book, The Hidden Jewel, I use the illustration of the diamond and how the diamond is the hardest gem known to man. And the diamond is formed at the center of the earth under high temperatures and high pressure. So when the diamond's first discovered, it doesn't look like the shiny diamond that we see in the store. It's not pretty, it's not polished. Actually, if you were to see it, you'd probably be like, are you sure this is valuable? Are you sure this is a diamond? This is priceless? What happens? It has to be cut, it has to be polished, it has to be sawed. And even after going through all of that and being shaped, and formed and cut to its desired shape, it still has to be cleaned again and it has to be polished. So there's a process that you have to go through. There are some things that have to be cut off with you. There are some ties that have to be cut. There are some situations that's going to have to be cut. There's some dead weight that you're going to have to let go of so that you can become the person that you were created to be. I always tell people, how can God bless you with more if you're still holding on to the things that's weighing you down? How can you stand up tall and walk towards your destiny if your back is still burdened by your past, by excess baggage? The two don't go hand in hand. So there is a process that you have to go through, and it's not going to be easy. I can't sit here and tell you that every day is a bed of roses. There will be some thorns, but the end result is it's worth it, and the process is never ending. You never arrive. Okay, let me make that clear. There's never like the ending moment where, okay, I've discovered my purpose, I'm walking in it, and then that's it. Nothing else has to nothing else has to happen. Because you should always be growing and evolving. As you grow and as you evolve, your purpose evolves with you. Your purpose grows with you. So then, okay, you've reached this level and you're good and you're walking in your purpose. Now it's time to go to the next level. Now there's some more things that have to be burned off. So don't get discouraged about the process, because you understand that it's all for a purpose. It's all for an expected end. Go through the process. It is so necessary and so beneficial. Fear can be the biggest thing to hinder us or stop us from walking in our purpose or from letting our sparkle shine, right? Fear has so much impact on who we are and what we do. It's a natural reaction. And it can be beneficial in some situations, but fear can also be very paralyzing. Fear can stop you from walking into that next phase in your life. I've always used myself as an example. When I first wrote my book, there was so much fear. I was like, what are they going to say? Oh my goodness, these people know my past. What if I meet someone and, they say, well, didn't you used to dance? Or I remember when, Javon was this, or Javon did this, or Javon did that. So there were all of these questions and all of this doubt, and it was like, can I do it? And so I began to second guess myself. I became afraid of the unknown. And that's natural. Anytime you set out to do something new, anytime you set out to be changed, there is going to be fear. There's going to be the what ifs. There's going to be the doubt. That's natural. But you have to overcome your fears. In order to overcome your fears, you first have to identify, what are your fears? Once you have identified your fears, you are ready to overcome them. And it's not as difficult as you may think. I recently attended a workshop where we had to write out our goals. We had to write out the actions that we would take to reach our goals, what could come up to distract us from taking those actions, and what we would do to not allow those distractions to hinder us, right? So the same can be applied with our fears. We write out our fears. Then once you write out your fears, you are then able to see, okay, are my fears emotional or are my fears actual? Is there actually something that I need to be afraid of? Is there actually something physical that would hinder me from going to the next level? Or is it all in my head? Once you determine whether your fears are emotional or physical, you can then write out what steps you will take to conquer your fear. So say, for me, my fear, believe it or not, is speaking in front of people. And I know that. So in order to conquer my fear, I will prepare myself more. I won't wait to the last minute when I know that I have to give a speech or give a presentation, right? So you write out your fears, and then you write out what actions you're going to take to conquer your fears. And then after you do that, you then look at that list and say, okay, what distractions can come and hinder me from conquering my fear? So using the example of me being afraid to speak in front of people and, being prepared ahead of time. One of the distractions may be I'm a mom. So during my time of, practicing, the little one may need my attention, or they come running up and say, hey mom, I want to eat, or I want to watch TV, or all the things that happen when you're a mother. So then what am I going to do in that situation? So then I write out my plan. Okay, if my son comes and he's distracting me, then I need to change my time. I need to do my work when he's sleeping, so then there are no distractions. Okay, so when you write out your fears, when you write out your steps that you're going to take to conquer your fears, when you write out your distractions that could stop you from taking those steps, you're able to look at each different scenario. We call those if-then scenarios. So then there's really nothing that can come up that can surprise you. You know what it's like to conquer your fear. You know what it's going to look like to get distracted, and you know what it's going to look like to prevent those distractions. So then you're prepared. So now what are you afraid of? I like to say fear stands for fearlessly expecting a reward. Listen, you already know what it's like to not live in your purpose, to not walk in your purpose. Move forward, shine, don't let anything hinder you, and expect a reward. If you set out to do something and you're not successful, it's okay. That's an opportunity for growth. But if you set out to do something new and you're successful, that's a win for you. That's something that you get to say, look at what I've accomplished. So don't let fear hinder you. Fear is just a small fragment of our imagination. It's a little voice in our head that we can control if we choose to. You can overcome any fear by having a plan, determination, and faith. We've already set out our plan. You've outlined your fears. You've written out how you're going to conquer them, what distractions are going to come up, and what actions you're going to take to avoid those distractions from hindering you. Now you just need to be determined. Determined that nothing will ever stop you from becoming who you need to become. Maya Angelou has this quote, and I'm going to read it so that I don't mess it up. She said, "You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. In fact, it may be necessary to encounter the defeats so you can know who you are, what you can rise from, how you can still come out of it." Don't worry about what may happen. Don't worry about, the fact that you may have a loss, or that, you may not be successful right out the gate, that you may not be received the way that you think you need to be received. It's all going to add to who you are. It all makes you that person that you were destined to be. It's all a part of your purpose. Begin to use the words I am. I am can be so powerful, but it's what is followed behind those words that make the difference. I am successful. I am unique. I am important. I am fearless. Begin to use those words. Speak what you see until what you see becomes what you see. Javon, that sounds crazy. What do you mean? You have a vision. You know what your purpose is. You know where you're going. Speak those things. Even though what you are looking at in front of you may not look like the place that you're going, still say, I am successful. If you know you were meant to be a writer, I am a writer. I am an author. I am a coach. I am an international speaker. Whatever it is that you're destined to be, begin to speak those things. So we've defined sparkle and explored ways to discover it. We talked about how not, to let fear stop us. So now, how do you let your sparkle shine? Simple. You just be who you are. You just do. I always tell people, you don't have to become great. You are great. Greatness was in you when you were created. So just be. Just do you. Just be who you are created to be. Don't let anyone stop you. Don't let the naysayers, hinder you. Don't worry about what people are going to say. And if you make mistakes, guess what? You're human and it's okay. It's okay to not be okay sometimes. It's okay to not get everything right. It's not okay to stay in that same place and to become complacent and stagnant. So love, discover your inner sparkle and let it shine. Shine bright because the world is waiting. Be who you are. No one else has your sparkle. No one else can shine like you shine. Your sparkle is yours and it is created uniquely for you because the world needs what you have. And remember, when God said, let there be light, he was giving you permission to shine. I want to thank you for watching this broadcast, and I hope that the information shared resonated with you. I hope that you have the tools that you need to discover your inner sparkle and let it shine. For more information about the Heavenly Jewels Alliance or myself, visit our website at www.heavenlyjewelsalliance.org. And I also invite you to join the I Shine movement. What is the I Shine movement? SHINE stands for spirituality, healing, improvement, network, and empowerment. The I Shine movement simply says that we're committed to using these tools to shine out of any situation that we may have experienced in life to live the purpose-filled life that we were called and predestined to live. So if you're with me and you want to declare that you shine, feel free to post a selfie, hashtag I Shine.